if you recall, right, we have three different ways of showing similarity. We have A similarity, we have SAS similarity, and we have SSS similarity. Looking at the diagram, I know it looks a little weird, but CD is equal to 65. So they're giving you the length of, the big one and stuff. Let's see. And then we can figure out CQ here really easily. If the entire thing is 65 and then this small section is 39, then we would just subtract the two numbers and it'll give me CQ, which some of you, it'll probably benefit you a lot to go ahead and do that. Okay, so what is that? 65 minus 39. That's going to be 6. And then what is that? 26? Yeah, okay. And then the other one, let's see, the long one is 40. And if this one is 24, then I would just subtract those two to give me CR. And so then, let's see, that one's going to be, I think, 16, right? Yeah. Okay. So now we have two triangles. If you really need to, my first hint to you is just separate them because they look way too messy together. They don't have to be perfect, just do a rough sketch. So the first triangle, right, it's 26, and then we have 18 here, and then we have 16. The next triangle, we have 65, and then 45, and then 40. Be very careful, right? Don't 39 and 24, those two numbers are just the really small section of the triangle, not the entire thing, okay? So just be careful with those. And so now if I go ahead and I can write my, C, this is Q, this is R, this is C, this is D, and then this is E. One thing I do want you to realize is that if I were to go ahead and just look at the angles, this angle right here, angle C, is going to be the exact same angle right there. I know that it's super not drawn to scale, but they are overlapping each other, okay? Because if you notice right here in this section, you only see sort of like one little corner. So what that means is that the corners perfectly lie on top of each other. And so therefore, they're congruent or they measure the same angle. I believe that's called the reflexive property, but honestly, I don't even know. Okay. And so let's go ahead. Let's take a look at this. We can technically, so let's see, let's just go in order, okay? Like I was doing before. So we have a pair of angles that is already congruent. So we have that one. Remember, I can potentially check this A off, but I need to make sure I have the S's around it, and I do. So if I wanted to, I could do SAS. Okay, let's see. And then do we have all sides? Yeah. So technically, you can do SAS and you can do SSS. Let's see if we have another angle available to us. Even though in my pictures, I know this looks like 90 degrees, but it's not because there's no little like box there. Okay, so just be careful with that. Don't ever assume. So that means I have no idea. I know nothing about these other angles right here, these four missing angles. Since I don't know anything about them, that means I can't do AA. Okay, so then I have SAS and SSS left. Honestly, for me, the easier one would be SSS, and you can go ahead and do that one. You could also potentially do SAS, and then the A, you can just write it as a reflexive property. I know it'll look, I'll actually write it later, but let me go ahead and do SSS right now. And so let's do SSS, okay? Well, I'm going to compare all the sides. Remember, look at the names to be able to match up the sides, but I mean, they pretty much come from the diagram anyways. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'll go from the right to the left one just because it's different than the other example. So 65 over 26, and then I have 45 over 18, and then I have 40 over 16. Remember, I'm just matching up the sides based off of the names. The 45, that looks like a negative sign. The 45 came from DC, so first two letters, right? CD, and then that means that CQ is the one you need to compare it to, which is equal to 26, okay? So it's all about matching letters. And so now I'm going to go ahead and these are my SSS. All I need to check is, are they equal to each other? So this is where you would either use a calculator or just start simplifying like crazy and seeing, do they actually get the same answer? And once I plug this into my calculator, so I go ahead and I get 2.5, and it's 2.5 for every single one of them. So what you can go ahead and say is like, or think is like, you're kind of done already because you show that all the sides are equal to the same thing, all the proportions of the sides. So I can go ahead and I basically like finish my proof. So I can say triangle CDE is similar to triangle, what is that, CQR. You can say by SSS similarity, okay? And then that'll be your statement, right? And then, right, you need to be able to show this here that they're all equal to each other, okay? For those of you that are a little bit interested in doing SAS, let's go ahead, or sorry, not, yeah, SAS. Let's go ahead and let me show you how that would look, okay? So very important that you need to understand is that the A has to be in the middle. So the only S that you cannot use is, there's actually one that you can't use at all. So there goes your congruent angle, right? The one right there highlighted in blue, because of the reflexive property. We already talked about that one. And what that means is that you're going to have to use the two highlighted sides. So only that side and only that side. And so the only sides you cannot use in this SAS similarity is the 18 and the 45. So just really think about that. Okay, you cannot use 18 and 45. If one of your S's is using the 45 and the 18, you are using SAS incorrectly. Okay, so if I have my two S's, okay, so it'll be, I'm gonna do the exact same order, right? 65, because I already know the answer. 65 over 26, that's gonna be 1S. The other S is going to be the 40 over 16. And I already know that both of them are equal to 2.5. And so there you go. I have my two S's. And now my A is going to be the last one. And that one, just look how I write it. It's going to be a little bit weird, but I'm going to go ahead and do A here like this. I'm going to say angle, sorry, that's a C. Angle C is congruent to angle C. And now you can give me like a little bullet point saying, they're the same, like angle, whatever. If you really want to, though, I believe it's the reflexive property. Right? I'm pretty sure it's that one, okay? But if you give me like a little spiel about like, it comes from the same corner or whatever, right? Like, if you separate them, then there you go. That's fine, okay? And so then finally, the last thing you would have to do is just write the similarity statement, right? It'll be this right here. Let me change colors. It'll be this right here. But then instead of saying by SSS, you're going to say by SAS similarity.